Hi guys, welcome. Our topic is software testing. Why should you perform testing? Type of testing. Zest and Enzyme, snapshot testing, integration testing reducer, version control, Git file workflow, push the code to Git, installing Git, additional commands. This testing is a very important part of your application because when the application goes live, we always have to test our application to make sure it's working fine. Because if something got break at the end of the deployment on real time, it is very difficult. So we have to make sure everything run very good. So here, software testing is a process to evaluate the functionality of software application with an intent to find whether the developed software met the specific requirement or not and produce a bug-free products. It's very important part. Why should you perform testing? Cost of fixing the bug is larger if testing is not done at early stage. Once the application deployed, it becomes very difficult to handle. So we have to make sure that we should get it on the early stage only. We try to fix that. To produce good quality product, to make software application defect free, to check if the behavior of application is same. So the testing also do one more thing, that testing help us to verify that the thing we expect is same as it's there or not. To check if the behavior of application is same in development and production environment. The type of testing: unit testing, functional testing, and integration testing. Unit testing. Unit testing is used to test a small piece of independent code, unconcerned with how they are wrapped in your application. To prevent regression, easy to pinpoint and fix the problem. If take longer to execute, it likely the code under test is much more complex it should be. Popular tool to perform React testing is Zest and Enzyme. So basically unit testing is more like the way the piece of a code that you write, you want to test that code is basically come under your unit testing. Functional tests are made against combination of many units. They use any number of external object or system like database, UI, security, as it's testing that how as a product it's behaving. Take longer time to execute than unit test. Functional tests represent major release, whereas unit tests represent only minor change, due to which they're expected to change less often than a unit test. When user enter username and a password and click on send, that user will be logged in. We can easily see that this function group will compromise for many unit tests, one for validating username and one for handling a button and so on. And in integration testing, we ensure system applications working correctly. It can execute only with the realistic environment like real database, server, and other system which like to target production environment. It is used in case you need to test separate system like database and application. It is lower than test as say other test and is complex to write. A functional test may successful test an ability to idle system to open help dialog box. But with integration testing with a new browser or other runtime, it found that expected functionality is not achieved. Test application using Zest and Enzyme. So what is Zest? Zest is a fast testing framework. It acts as a test runner, a cert library, and mocking library. And whereas Enzyme is a JavaScript test utility for React that make it easier to assert, manipulate, and traverse your React component output. So Enzyme provide additional utility methods for rendering a component, finding element, and interacting with element. So basically the component testing or the snapshot testing, the one we are talking about, is actually achieved using Enzyme also. On the other side, if I talk about create React application setup come with bundle with Zest. Generally what happen when we start writing a test cases, we look for a testing. But basically your React script package that you have created or the scaffolding that you have created is actually come with the Zest package inbuilt. So you don't have to install a Zest, but apart from that, we have to install certain other things. So now we have to do a test with the say snapshot integration with reducer. So let's perform that. This is our application that we are working in the Redux. On this application, I'm going to do some testing. First of all, I'll open that in VS Code. Let's go there. Now, particularly in the VS Code, so I'll open our folder and we have to install certain packages for this. Although, as we know, Zest is by default inbuilt, but apart from Zest, we'll install certain packages. So first of all, let me open our folder. Our application is already running. So I'll stop that and let me install some package there. With my command prompt, I'll open that. I'll stop it manually. And first of all, you have to install npm I React test renderer and we need enzyme adapter React. So I'll write enzyme adapter React 16. Apart from that, as Zest is by default there, we just need one more enzyme. So we need three package. One is enzyme, one is enzyme adapter React 16, and one is React test renderer. So we install that. Now while it's installing, we'll proceed with our next part. Now it will install, so we can go back to our application. Here, whenever we have got any test case, so in the SRC folder, we have one test folder. I'll do one thing. I'll delete this test folder and write a fresh test folder for us. And the test folder should be named as underscore underscore test underscore underscore. Now here, first of all, let's do one of our component testing. So if you go back to our component, we have one footer component. Let's test this component. We'll verify that is that component is as expected or not. What we'll do, we'll make our one JSON tree for that. And then with that JSON tree, we're going to use it. It should be a part of our test folder component.test.js. So remember one thing, your file name should always end with means have test between that, and see the color difference also there because it detected that's a test code. Now you have to import React here, import React from React. Then you have to import footer first of all from dot slash, ideally it should be dot slash. It's a two folder route component slash footer. Then we'll import create that is coming from React test renderer. Now what we'll do is we'll write our describe keyword. So we'll describe what this test case is all about. I'll say it's a snapshot test for footer. Now after that, we'll call that function arrow curly braces. We write test. It should be test and we'll write testing footer. Anything you can say here. It's a name by which we test what this test case is all about. After that, bracket arrow curly braces. We'll say let tree equal to create. So create footer. We'll make a one JSON of footer. Then after that, what is expectation? My expectation is tree.toJSON to match snapshot. If it match snapshot, test case pass, else test case fail. To match snapshot like this. Now how to run it? Just go back to our command prompt and simple run a command npm run test. If the test case pass, it will show you pass, else it fail. If the test case pass, it is see automatically pick that. Now spelling mistake is there. See it automatically able to pick my test file. Now it's running, test case pass and your snapshot created. In case if I go back and make change in a footer, say Edureka N anything, now the test case will fail because it's not matching the required criteria. If I go back and make it back, it will work. Suppose your requirement is that suppose requirement got changed. Now I want to update my test case because it's once created, it keep on failing. So what you can do is as you have this test, you can add the update test like this. Test update React script test and update snapshot. The second way that you can do. Now here I'll add one more test case. I'll say one we did for our component test. Now we'll do reducer. So I'll pick that test case and I'll walk you through how exactly it works. Now I have one more test for reducer. In this I import reducer. First of all, see what reducer is returning. We have to run a test case according to that. Right now my reducer is returning article and gallery. When I write test case, expectation is same. It say initial state should be article and gallery. Later on when we actually pass that particular, I'll say action, it should return array. So how exactly we can do that? So this is where there are two test cases. One initial state, one when we pass the action. If I go back and I'll run this, see this time three test case and all three pass. As it returning me object initially, after calling action, we got array. So now we're going to talk about maintaining code using Git. See what happened when n number of developers are working in the application, everybody have to sync their code because it's not possible like one day we'll give one folder to someone and then they will update that folder, they give us back. It's not possible. The reason for that is till what extent you keep on doing like this. You always have to work in the way that you always upload the code somewhere and those who need the code, they will download the code and the code should be keep on in sync. Now to achieve this functionality, we use the GitHub. So with the GitHub, it become in the way that we can share our code very easily. So version control is one that record changes for document, computer program, large website and other collection of information over time. It allows multiple users to manage multiple revision of same unit of information. It is used to maintain the record of different versions of code. The most popular tool used as version control is Git. Why should you use Git? Git is an open source distribution control system for tracking change in source code during software developer. Snapshot: Git change made to file rather than itself. That means if file is not changed, it is not stored again. Distribution: every user have his own copy which store data locally. Basically what happened, we have a data locally and from there we push. Fast operation: almost every operation on Git is local. Hence, the speed offered by Git is lightning fast compared to other tools. Branch handling: every collaborator work directly in the separate branch. Basically, if I have something to push, I'll push in my own separate branch. Robust: nearly every task in Git is recorded and hence hard to lose any data. The Git workflow is like that. Use Git flow to manage your project efficiently. Work with set of guidelines, increase Git consistency and popularity. If I talk about one by one, that repository is a server where all the collaborator upload change made to the file. Then local repository is a copy of database. The user all the data file locally through push. Then working copy is a space where user active directory. The user modify existing file and create new file in the space. Then staging area is a place where all the modified file are marked to be committed or place. Commit command commit all the file in the staging area to local repository. And push command move all the data in the local repository to remote repository. When we do fetch, fetch collect the change in remote repository and copy them to local repository. Whereas the pull the latest change in the code. So let me show you how exactly we can push pull the code in the GitHub. Now for doing that, what we'll do is, so let's go here. So this is my GitHub. If I want to make any new repository where I can push the code, what I'll do is I'll go here, click on the icon and say Edureka like that. After that, I'll create one repo. Now one repository by name of Edureka created. It give me these 5 commands. So now what I'll do is on my local system, I'll make one folder from where I want to push any code. Suppose it's my local system. It don't have anything. Suppose I'll take few files here, 3 files I pick. I'll move these 3 files here. Now I want to push. For a Windows system, you need to have a Git bash, which is already there in this machine. Right click, Git bash here. We write one by one command. The very first command is git init. Basically, we initialize the Git in this folder. Sorry, let me minimize it. First of all, we minimize the code in this folder. Like say, I'll say git init. This will initialize the Git in this folder. I say your hidden folder will be created. Once you do like that, your hidden folder will be created in the Git. So let me actually close this one. And if I go to view now and I say hidden files item, see one Git folder created, right? Then you have to add all the code. You'll say git add. Then you write git commit. It will commit all the code in a local repository. Write some comment. So it say that you're pushing it first time. So you have to set your global username and password. So how we'll do is we'll say git config. The very first time you're doing from system, you have to do like this. Git config hyphen global. We'll say user dot email. So I'll add my email ID here. You have to give the email ID by which you have signed up on the Git. I'll add that email ID here. It's wrong email ID ideally. It will not take it then. Then I write here my username of this. That is Akash developer. Git config minus global. And then I have to say user dot name. And that is Akash developer. Like this. And now it's set. Now you try to commit the code. It's say still something is missing, although we have already done that. So it's actually help to set a global username. First of all, let's make sure we'll say git config hyphen global user dot email. Now it is done, and then user dot name. Now see it's committed. After that, in whichever repo you want to push, you have to pick that path of that repo like this. So I'll go back and particularly paste it and enter. At the end, we'll say git push minus u origin master like that. Now this will push the code to this repo. Tomorrow, if anything new you want to push, just 3 commands: git add, git commit, and git push. Ask my username and a password. I'll enter that. So guys, means first time you push like this, next time when you want to push, you just write git add, git commit and git push. That's it. Now it's done. So see, it's pushing that code. If you go back to git, your code is pushed. Next time also git add, git commit, git push. Now suppose I open any file and some edit there. I write here Akash developer or I write something different, say developer funnel like that. Anything I can write here. Now once I write and I commit the code. So suppose some other developer already pushed some code there. Now what you have to in your git you will write git pull. So the latest commit what whoever made is pulled. See, creating a remote repository. We have already seen how exactly we add the code to the git. So we already in the last demo we have created that repo. We have given a name and we created that. Now to push the code we need to have our git bash. After that we did git init. Then we config that. After that, we added the remote where we want to push and then we committed that code. Once it commit, it goes to the master branch. After that, suppose if I have to take some different branches, like so remove the code, we'll say git rm and the file name, git cache, or the error showed up if you try to delete the stage file. You can force delete by adding -f to that. I'll show one more thing here. Suppose I want the two developer are working. We can make a branch also. We'll say git checkout -b checkout. Now what this will do, it make a separate branch for that. I'll say new feature, any name I can give like this. Now if I add some file in the folder, suppose I'll create a one new file in the folder, random file. Now when I push this time, I'll say git add, git commit, then git push in that branch, git push -u origin and the branch name, that is new feature. That branch name enter wrong and plus git command was wrong. So I have to correct that both the things. Now this time it's going to push in separate branch and see on the git we get something in terms of like pull request. So what we do in real time, we say compare pull request. If everything's look good, we can add the reviewer and create that. Once you create the pull request, your reviewer will review the code. If they find everything fine, they merge. So what happened? Once they confirm merge, your both the branches got merged, but you will see two branches, master and new feature. So this is how your branching work in Git. Thank you.